let's see what we have in store for today. What is this? Meeting. Attention pyramid dweller? Yo, I got a name. Please meet me on the peak of the mountain that separates on the next sun phase. Okay, thank you, forest villager, or village. Okay, well that's cryptic. Mountain that separates. So, I mean, they're there. We're here. Is he talking about this one? Or are they? I don't even know if it's a he. Okay, next sun phase. I'm guessing that's going to be tomorrow. Alright, well I got a few things to do today. So, I guess I'll go meet them when I wake up tomorrow. Alright, so it is the next sun phase, and I'm just walking over here, and it looks like they got, is this theirs? It's not quite on the peak though. I just stumble upon this randomly. Strange. I wonder if they're in here. Maybe I'll knock. Maybe I'll just, oh, there is somebody in here. Okay. Hello? Okay, and that would be okay. When can I expect the first order of wood? Alright, well, you have my protection as long as I start receiving some wood soon, because I am running low and this will be very helpful. Also, I agree to give you fuel as well. Please start construction soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. Welcome back, everybody, to my GregTech New Horizons playthrough. Last episode, we did the high-octane gasoline setup, and oh my gosh, those guys have been running for way too long. I just forgot to turn it off. We have been using the power over here. Oh wait, it wasn't on that long. Alright, cool. We have been using the power over here. I set up this EBF to make some tantalum and TPV because my other EBF was being used for, gosh, I don't remember what I was using that for over there. Something. Manulin, because my turbines on the gas turbines down there have the durability's getting a little bit low. So we are making some Manulin turbines again. I think I'm going to go with the large ones, which means I'm going to use more fuel. Because right now we got the normal ones down there. But I am most likely going to be looking at upgrading the, well, kind of expanding on the benzene and nitrobenzene setup. And then, yeah. So in between episodes, made the EBF. I also hooked up, ran power over to the machines in the lab. So that's no longer ran on the nitrobenzene. That's going to be ran on the HOG. I am also going to hook up these machines onto the HOG setup, but we have a decent amount of benzene, so figured might as well just keep using that. But enough with what we did in between episodes and last episode. This episode, I have some very ambitious plans. A lot to do around automation, because I have destroyed my polyethylene, my PTFE. I destroyed a bunch of setups while kind of updating that area over there. So I have some IV power ran to this little platform here, along with 32 channels that goes in this little pillar and comes down here. right here. So I think this little platform I am going to use for like some plastics and probably a few other things. Plastics, titanium, and tungsten at least. I also want to get the plat line going. So like I said, this is very ambitious plans for this episode. So let me see where we get to. So some things I want to get done this episode is fully automating polyethylene, fully automating PTFE. There's a few other plastics and rubbers that I would like to get into, like the silicone rubber is something I kind of really need. The styrene butadiene or whatever it's called here. What is it called? This stuff, which I got some from opening up some Fortune 3 IV loop bags a little bit ago. So automating plastics is something I would like to look at like right now. I would also like to look at titanium, getting that going because we ran through our titanium, but we do have a lot of rutile, so we could do that. Tungsten, we have a ton of tungstate and a ton of scheelites, so I'd like to get that automated as well. And then platinum. So these are all things that I am going to need a lot of here in the very near future. So those things need to get automated ASAP. And some other side projects I'd like to look at is the mass fabricator. Probably go with the, I don't know, MV or HV one because it uses, I don't know, 2 or 4 amps, I think. So automating UU matter would be sweet to get that going, and then also automating radon because I am going to need that for. I have some radon in my system, but we are going to need it for obviously the quantum stars that we're going to need quite a few of, and yeah, we need radon. So I have been, where's it at? Just coming over here and letting this radon decay. I got a bunch of uranite that we purified and now are sifting. So I'd like to get that automated as well. So plastics, EV and IV metals, and UU matter. So let's get to work on building out this little platform here. I only have it, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks high. So hopefully we don't have to get too tall with things, or else we're gonna we're gonna end up like this. So let's get to work. First, we're probably going to start with the easiest one and work our way up. So polyethylene, let's go. All right, so polyethylene is going to be really easy because I believe we have ethylene in the system and we just need to hook it up with oxygen and we get molten polyethylene. I think we're going to leave it in the, oh, you know what? This is actually even easier. Can we make that air intake hatch yet? I mean, we could make this air intake hatch, but I don't know if I'd necessarily want to use it on. We'll just use oxygen for the polyethylene. Anyway, so one chemical reactor, and then we will leave it in the liquid form, probably put it in a smaller tank, and put a storage bus on it. Sure, let's go. Well, would you look at that? All right, polyethylene. That was easy. On to the next one. Polytetrafluoroethylene. This is going to be a little bit more difficult because I don't quite have chlorine. I have it hooked up to the system, I just don't have like a ton of it. And hydrofluoric acid, which is hydrogen, easy. Fluorine, not so easy, but I think we can remedy that for now with biotite. We could do biotite. Just all of this is kind of a mess. Maybe we use our cryolite. Yeah, I think we're gonna use cryolite. Well, I'll use up my biotite first. Yeah, we're gonna do biotite for now. I will figure out all of this stuff here, and then we might run the option of cryolite as well if we biotite is it takes a lot, and the recipe to make biotite is kind of crazy. Although you know what, you can get it from black granite. I did not know that. I've been using this recipe, but black granite might be an option because I think we have some crops up there that could get us black granite. Yeah, let me set that up now. Just look at it. Alright, so polytetrafluoroethylene is complete, and we actually have our first wall shared multi-block actually. I don't think we have any other wall shares going on here, but yeah, so this one is making the tetrafluoroethylene, and then this one's making the polytetrafluoroethylene. I tried to do it all in one, and I don't think you can with two different circuits. So yeah, so this one's taking in methane from the system, hydrofluoric acid from this guy right here that we set up just now, and some chlorine from our system, and then pushes the tetrafluoroethylene, and we also get oxygen into the chemical reactor from the system, and we make polytetrafluoroethylene. So a much better setup than what I had going on before, so I like this. But the hydrofluoric acid part is fluorine and hydrogen. It looks like we're out of fluorine. The fluorine is coming from black granite from our crops, so I need to kind of maybe add a couple more crops of the black granite stuff, and we get the biotite from centrifuging that, and then that is kind of automated. It pushes the oxygen cells into here, oxygen gets put into the dual interface there, and all the other outputs go into the interface. I got to actually go check my system to make sure all the products from this is not getting uh, overflowing certain stuff like this alumina. I'm a little worried about. But yeah, so that is how this is made. It was a little confusing to get done. I could go underneath and show you this craziness. I'm not going to explain any of this because it works, and that's all we really need to know, right? Just a bunch of noodles. Alright, so polyethylene, polytetrafluoroethylene, what is next? I think let's do the silicone rubber. This shouldn't be too hard. We have a ton of sulfur. This stuff is made from, I think we'll do this recipe here. So silicon, methanol, which I believe we have in the system, and hydrochloric acid, which we are actually gaining a ton of it from this setup here. You get like 12 buckets from one iteration of the tetrafluoroethylene. So if we look into our system here, we're getting a good amount, and I believe you get some back. You get the diluted back, and then we can behind it just set up a little distillery to you get half back. So we'll go ahead and throw a little LV distillery back there, maybe MV depending on bottleneck here, and get that put back into the system. So let's do silicone rubber now. Alright, so I went ahead and set up silicone rubber and polyvinyl chloride. Silicone rubber, like I said before, it's the same setup with import and export buses, and then we have the advanced distillery in the back here to distill down the diluted hydrochloric acid we get, and then same thing with the polyvinyl chloride. You know, import export buses with all the stuff that we need here, and we are good to go. Chlorine is becoming a big problem, so we're going to need to solve that here pretty quickly, which I kind of have an idea how I want to go about doing it, but it's going to require some progression. And speaking of progression, I think next is going to be epoxid. So if we look, where do we have it? If we look at molten epoxid, we were doing this recipe here, but I don't think that's my my best option here. I want to say this recipe might be a little bit easier for me. So we have acetone in the system, we have phenol in the system, we have hydrochloric acid in the system. Epichlorohydrin we do not, but if we look at some recipes for epichlorohydrin, This recipe right here, propene we have in the system, chlorine we kind of have in the system, but we're struggling with, and water obviously, and that gets us some stuff. These stuffs, um, mainly the salt water, we can electrolyze down to chlorine, hydrogen, and get some sodium hydroxide dust back. So um, I think we should invest in this industrial electrolyzer. And that was the recipe that we were looking at over here. So it's going to require some new alloys. This stellite, we're going to need a little bit of that. Rotor plates. It's made with cobalt, chrome, manganese, and titanium. So we have a little bit of all that stuff. And then it's also going to require this HSSG wire, which I'm probably going to batch craft a bunch of this because we're going to need to upgrade our coils here too, I think. So might as well, if we're going to make some, we might as well make a lot. So yeah, epoxid is going to need to be automated, and what better place to put it than with all the other plastic stuff. So let me get to crafting some of this new stuff here, mainly HSSG and the stellite. We don't need a ton of this right now, but we're probably going to need a few of these industrial electrolyzers. So um, maybe I'll make a good amount of this stuff. Depending on chrome, I'm kind of struggling with, so got to be careful with that. But yeah, let me get to work on this stuff here. The field generator, not terrible. All right, I will be right back when we got some cool stuff going on. Oh, well, I guess it's a good thing we're making the HSSG because I didn't see that the stellite requires HSSG coils. So we need to make the HSSG first. So rearrange the order of operations here. And now we have our molten epoxid. So this is probably not going to get left in the liquid form. Or maybe I'll just set up a auto craft to make the plates because that's really what I'm after for circuits and stuff. It is used in other things. Like you can make cheaper circuit boards and the other deal. You can make some stuff with it. So I don't know. We'll see what's up. But look at this, a new multi-block industrial electrolyzer that is electrolyzing down our salt water that we're getting from this. And I did set up a little drilling rig up on Mars there to, I tried to use the dimensional transceivers or whatever I got from a loot bag, and I think you got to power them, and they are a little power hungry, so I decided just I will go back and forth with super tanks to gather up the salt water as needed. But yeah, I did have to do a little bit of weirdness back here because I ran out of channels, so behind this dual interface there is a input bus, putting in the sodium hydroxide dust in there, and I didn't see that the recipe for epichlorohydrin gives us 2 buckets, and the recipe for the molten epoxid requires 1 bucket of hydrochloric acid. So I had a little bit of a boo-boo there, and I had to redo it all. So this is kind of what I came up with. Output bus, input or output hatch with some fluid conduits into an input hatch, and then I made this kind of loop around. So this is the last one because for whatever reason, fluid conduits don't have priorities. So yeah, that's how we did it, and it's been working, and we got a good amount of molten epoxid here. Yeah, I like it. I'm probably gonna have to make a couple more of these because I'm probably gonna use this for oxygen and some other stuff. So now I got to figure out what I want to do next, which is quite a few things. I'm debating whether or not I want to go down the platinum route right now or the titanium route, one of the two, or tungsten. So we got those 3 to still do. Or do I want to make the centrifuge because nitrogen is a big bottleneck currently, and if I think if I make that centrifuge multi-block, I can kind of tear all these little single blocks down and just plop a centrifuge here, which I would make 2 right off the bat because I want to put one right here as well, which actually I thought it was a 3x3, but I think it's a 3x4x3 or something like that. So I would put another multi-block centrifuge here to get rid of this, to make that go a little bit faster. I did, however, upgrade this high octane gasoline setup a little bit. Oh my gosh. Um, with putting my TPV coils on this pyrolyzed oven, and it has been working faster. It's still not fast enough, so maybe I'll try HSSG coils. At some point, but this is working pretty good actually. So not perfect, but better. So I am procrastinating a little bit on the titanium, platinum, and tungsten because I'm a procrastinator. So let's look at the industrial centrifuge. So this is a little bit more expensive than the electrolyzer. This Maraging steel 250 plate requires steel, molybdenum, tantalum, or titanium, nickel, and cobalt. Get 24 of that. We need a good amount of that because we also need it for the casings as well. And then it also wants this Inconel 792 plate, which is nickel, niobium, aluminum, and nichrome. So a little bit more pricier. And then Tumbaga, which is that's cheap stuff. That's just gold and copper. So I think we're going to make two industrial centrifuges. Let's get into some multi-blocks. Let's procrastinate on the automatic metal making because why not, right? All right, so one industrial centrifuge, which is like killing it on the nitrogen now. We got the air intake hatch on top here, so it's really just producing stuff for, well, not for free, for power. And we're powering it with HV. So 2 amps HV gets us a ton of nitrogen, and I kind of changed this up a little bit. We still are getting water in here, right? All right, I didn't like recheck that to make sure I set it up correctly, but yep, we are good on distilled water still. So I don't know. This platform was kind of just thrown together, so eventually we'll get around to beautifying it, I guess. And then our other centrifuge. All right, and I've been saying centrifuge, huh? It's centrifuge. Yeah, I'm a scientist. I know my words. Just kidding, I'm not a scientist. Here's the other one. So this is kind of killing it now too. We are getting a ton. Well, it's using the soul sand faster, so we're getting a backlog of oil finally. So that means this is too slow, obviously. So maybe we'll look at speeding that up eventually, and then that'll probably make this too slow, and then we'll speed up the rest of the stuff. I saw a comment that I should change the coils on these machines, and yeah, you're not wrong. Once I get this process fully automated, we'll speed those bad boys up too. But right now, I mean, they're kind of what are they? Oh, you know what? I don't even have steam or hydrogen pumped in here automatically, so I should actually probably I should probably do that. This has got steam going in automatically, so that's what's holding this up. Yeah, we still got room or work to do down here. But we're updating it as we go. I kind of just threw this whole base together, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm learning as I go. But thank you for that tip. Next, no more procrastination. Let's do the next episode where we will absolutely be doing some ore processing and metals processing somewhere in this base, maybe down underneath this little lab area. But it's gonna have to wait till the next episode. I want to make these a little bit shorter and I'm trying to get one out a week, and it's kind of difficult for me with the limited amount of time I have to play the pack. And it takes a lot to learn this pack, and this is all new territory for me. So I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun watching it. And if you liked it, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe to see some more, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any ideas of like videos, or if you want me to like try to figure out a setup, because I'm at a point in this game where I'm willing to try just about anything if I have access to it. Obviously, if I gotta like do a bunch of progression, that might be a problem. It just might take a little bit longer for me to do it. But if you guys have some ideas, or what do you want, if you want to see something special in this mod pack, leave a comment. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.